Hello.
Hi,
Hi.
Emerson.
How are
Can
you?
you hear?
I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, perfect.
Good.
Yeah.
So how do you pronounce your
Oh.
name?
Nene?
Nina.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I will just see if I can get
No
your
worries.
voice on
Can you hear
these.
me okay? How's that?
Yes,
Okay. All right.
okay.
So you know the drill. Tell me your seeking story and what got you here.
Yeah, I have watched so many of your videos. I just love them.
Oh, thank
So
you.
I have been a seeker for 10 years now. Yeah. So I thought now is the time to stop seeking.
Yeah.
So it began 10 years ago when I was just standing in my bedroom in my apartment,
Hmm.
and suddenly something inside of me said, "Who am I?" And
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about spirituality. I
Yeah.
was not at all inclined to anything spiritually. But in that moment, it was like, wow, I don't know. I really don't know what I am.
Yeah.
And in that, there was like a gap in the mind stream.
Yeah.
It was like,
Yeah.
so that was the first meeting of like another dimension. I fall into like a
Yeah.
openness. And then the seeking began.
Yeah.
And
It's almost
yeah,
like a curse, right? It's like, wow. And then,
yeah.
yeah.
I was, full of bliss and so much enjoyment. And then I had to go back to the university to study, and it closed down. And I was in such suffering because I was like, oh, I've lost this, and I can feel the contraction, and I can feel that the thoughts is really
Yeah.
coming strong.
Yeah.
So, but then I began to listen to Krishnamurti and Alan Watts,
Okay.
uh, and Eckhart Tolle.
Okay,
Oh,
Tola.
he
Yeah.
was he was the
Yeah.
big thing for me. I
Yeah.
just loved to hear him. I was,
Yeah.
you know,
He sounds like
every day.
Yoda. He sounds like Yoda
Yeah,
from
yeah,
Star
yeah.
Wars, right? Yeah.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
his energy was just so sweet and like a grandfather, wise grandfather that you just want to hang out with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I hang out with him all day long, in my
Yeah.
earphone. And that was a tremendous help because I had this glimpse, but I did not know about what is this.
Yeah.
And I could not, if I was talking a bit about it, people was like, you seem a little mental. Are you okay? And I was like, oh, I've never been
Yeah.
so sane in my life. I
Yeah.
see so clearly. And I was like, ah. So I met a lot of like resistance from my
Mm.
peers and my family, and they were really worried.
Yeah.
And then I had another major glimpse. I was walking around a lake
Yeah.
nearby where I live, and I was just walking, like, yeah, just walking. And then suddenly I was like, whoa, I don't breathe. It's not me breathing.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
happened. The breath, like, it just happened.
Yeah.
And then the next was like, oh my God, there is not a person inside. There is no entity.
Yeah.
There is no entity looking,
Yeah.
walking.
Yeah.
It's just, and it has always been like this, and it's
That's
always
right.
will be
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was so ordinary at this. As it was so like, yeah, of course I knew this. But at the same time, it was like, oh, I have never relaxed so deeply in my whole life with
Yeah.
this recognition that came like it
Hmm.
felt like all cells in this body was like letting go.
Yeah.
So it was like, wow. And then I was walking back to my apartment. I felt like, whoa, I knew I've walked this road many times, but it was the first time
That
I
you saw
walked
it.
it. It was
Yeah.
so, it was so fresh. Like when you are traveling to another country and you are there for the first time and experiencing.
That's right.
That
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
how it just felt. So I came up in my apartment, sat on the porch, or altan, or what it's called, balcony, I think it's
Yeah.
called. I was looking out in the horizon, And it felt like suddenly this horizon came closing in on me.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
like
Like there's no
inside,
distance
out.
from it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it was
yeah,
like, and it felt, oh, it felt so good. And I was just, it was like my eyes was, there was something happening with the perception. Like,
yeah, yeah.
it was like there was no distance almost.
That's
And
right.
it was like a merging. It was
Yeah,
like a merging.
yeah,
And when this merging was almost like final, suddenly all the nerves behind my eyes was doing like, and then and then the mind came so strong. And then
that usually
for
happens when you have something super high like that, right? The fall is
yeah,
so steep.
yeah.
Yes.
And for 8 years, 8 years,
Oh,
that's a long time, isn't it? I just have been stuck on this
it's like a
thing
loop,
that,
right? A loop.
yeah,
Yeah,
like I was like, whoa, I know there is no entity inside. I just saw it, I
yeah,
recognized it. But I got stuck on the experience. I got stuck on the feeling like it should feel like this all the time, like this
yeah.
release, like this total openness.
Hmm.
So the mind has just come in, made like a feeling of contraction around my eyes. I have had so much pain, so much
Yeah,
contraction here in my head. And then it says to me, the mind is clever, is or the thoughts say, you are not there anymore. You have lost it because
oh, that's
now
what happened to
you
me too. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it did. Wow, amazing.
yeah, yeah,
And it said you have lost it because now you can feel that you are a person. You feel like a local awareness is looking from your eyes, and now you
yeah.
feel like someone is speaking. And I got stuck on that for 8 years. Every single spiritual teacher I met, I asked about this, and they gave me some different answers, but never anything I really felt like cleared this up until, and I've listened to Moody and Tony Parsons, Newman, all of them.
Yeah.
Then last year, I listened to Gangamia,
Okay.
if you know her, and she said something like, it's just an experience. Don't get stuck on it. And
Hmm.
for some reason, that was the first time I was like, oh my God,
Yeah,
this is actually the mind.
that's right. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a belief. It's just saying to me, you are contracted now. You feel
yeah,
there is
yeah,
a
yeah.
person inside. You lost it.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah.
And and then I became a mother and
Congratulations.
thank you, 2 years ago.
Happy Mother's Day. Oh, in Canada, it's Mother's Day tomorrow. So,
Oh, tomorrow.
yeah.
Here it's a Monday.
Oh, wow.
And
Whereabouts are
yeah,
you?
in Copenhagen, Denmark.
Denmark. Oh, wow.
It's close to Germany
Yeah.
and Sweden.
Sweden.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You have
Oh,
have you been here?
no, I haven't. I haven't. Yeah,
It's far from
yeah,
yeah, from Canada.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, so being a mother has just, shed all the layers from
Of
my
course. Yeah.
usual spiritual beliefs because it has been such a journey, very intense, but beautiful at the same time.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Be- Because she has difficulties with sleeping during night. So she can be awake from 4 hours in the
Hmm.
night. And here I was like, wow, all my spiritual beliefs, they just go flush out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so here we are, Emerson. So that's a little
yeah.
bit
So,
of
how did you find me? Just the when you
it was
started this?
actually It was actually a Danish girl who is in my Facebook friendshood, someone I knew a little bit out in the circle. And for some reason, I was just like, let's look at her profile. And she had posted your videos.
Oh,
And yeah, her name is Malene. maybe you know her because you have
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah, very sweet girl. And I saw when I saw these videos she posted of you, I was like, I have to look at this. I felt like something resonated here.
yeah.
Because for some years I haven't really listened that much to satsang at all. I
Mhm.
couldn't. I was like, oh, I don't know. I was like, I don't really want to hear any guru talking, or
Yeah,
I cannot do this. And
yeah,
I tried everything, and I was like, okay, screw everything with searching. Then wanted like, okay, then I could get a boyfriend and I could get a child, because I felt like I really wanted to be in my life again.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah,
but it has always been simmering in the background. And
yeah,
then you came. I was like, we will give this a chance. Why not?
yeah, yeah. What's the what what is being tried? I can't express this,
Mm.
right? Because it's not a word, it's not an experience. Um, but what do you believe at this very instance? If you're not able to go to the past or the future, just go directly.
Yeah, there is like
Yeah,
what to say.
yeah. It's so direct and simple, right?
Yeah,
That
yeah,
it's
yeah,
not. It's just so clear without language.
yeah.
So
Mm.
if you, what are you experiencing if you can't go to the past or the future? Or who's experiencing if you can't go to the past or the future?
No one.
Yeah. So it's between someone and no one. What if you take away the language? What are you? What are you without language at this moment?
There is really nothing.
Yeah.
And I can still hear like the thought that it expects something. It has expectations.
Yeah.
Like,
But the next is a thought. If the
yeah,
past is a okay, if the past is a thought and the future is a thought, then there's no next. Kind of like what you said, it's just the mind saying, "There's a next. There's a firework. Where's the thing? Well, no, where's the falling away? Where's the thing, right?" But if you take away the mind get out of the way, because the mind can only operate in the past and the future. It doesn't exist right now. Where is it? If you take away the past or the future, where's the mind? It's very tricky, right? Because the mind has made this story now of like, I had this grand glimpse, and everything, no location and everything. But that's
yeah,
not here right now,
no,
right? No. That's a simplicity of this, right? It's always here. Kind of like what you said, it's always been this way. But the mind doesn't like this, right? Because it makes it irrelevant. It's trying to be in the background, right? Trying to come in. That's simple, that direct. So right now, what are you seeing if you cannot use words? What's between the observer and the observed?
Like what to say?
Yeah.
What to say?
Yeah, you can't say anything, right?
Because no, because whatever I say, it's just mind.
It's made up, yeah.
Yeah,
Everything
it's
that you
just
think,
mind.
everything that you believe,
Yeah,
even when you feel something, the mind comes up, right? I feel this way. It's made up.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it's just
You can't even say it. And there's nothing to
no,
talk about.
no. That's it. That's I'm the most boring person.
That's right, yeah. But Nene, yeah, um, wants to find out, right? But there's no next. What's to find out? That's why
Nothing.
I don't do Q&As anymore, is because what's the point of doing those satsangs?
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
all made up, right?
Yeah, because then you begin, the mind begin to fabricate like a story of how
That's right,
things
yeah.
should be.
Yeah. And I don't go touring around the world, sitting in a big chair anymore. Because the moment I sit
No.
in a big chair, then I create a boundary. I create a division that I know something and you don't, right? But at this very instance, if you take away the language, is there anyone here? So there's no seeker, there's no speaker, right? It's made up.
It is like,
So when you're looking at a speaker or a teacher in a big chair, you're making up stuff in your mind, right? That, oh,
yeah,
they got
totally.
something and they're performing for you.
Yeah, because I have this sense that there is like a emptiness in you, or
Oh,
in, that it's just like, yeah, there is really nothing, or
no,
like,
no, no, that's just a thought
yeah,
again, right? Yeah.
yeah,
I like these fun ones because it brings down to this level of just intimacy where there's no hierarchy. You can question everything. You can, and there's equality. If we take away the language, is there anyone different here, higher or lower? No. Kind of like what I say, right? When we go into that in between space where there's really no in between, then there's an open field where you and I basically disappear. It's just words coming out, right? It's kind of like when you were like realizing that breathing was happening on its own. The words are coming out on its own.
yeah.
Yeah,
I still have a bit a sensation here, like
that's just a
contracted.
belief. If you
Okay.
go directly at that and label it,
Yeah.
what's there?
Yeah, because whatever I say, it's still the mind.
That's
It's
right.
just
Yeah,
still
yeah,
in the mind.
yeah.
Mm.
Everything that comes up is a fabrication. So you'll say that I still, no, no, no. So a thought maintains a thought, it becomes a belief, right? A belief maintaining a belief becomes a sense of identity. So when people were
Yeah.
asking me all about this contracted energy, I'm like, that's BS, right? Because it's just a belief that you have this contracted energy. People that are not coming from non-duality don't know anything about contracted energy. The other part of it is shadow work and all that kind of stuff, right? Oh, but just a second, okay? My dog is just second, right? So this is almost like a sobering up from seeking,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
there's no next. Where else can you go from here?
Nowhere.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like okay.
yeah, it's okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
like yeah, it's really, as you say, like a sobering up
Yeah. It's like you had,
for
it's almost like
so-
shaking your head. You're kind of like you went in a trip or a trance or a spell of thinking,
yeah,
or you're drunk on thinking, and you're sobering up. You're like you're intoxicated by, oh, I can't wait for the contracted energy to go away, or the me to fall away, or when I'm aware of awareness, or whatever everyone is saying. But you're intoxicated by the words of someone that claims that they got it without saying that they
oh,
got it, which is still, yeah,
I
it was
know.
still intoxicating. Again, the moment that you're facing someone in front of you with a chair and a flower, and maybe so once in a while some pictures, much respect, what I'm saying? But it's in a thought level. Those are thought level. Teachings, no teachings, description, prescription, it doesn't matter because they're caught up in their words.
Yeah,
Yeah. This
yeah,
is a
they take
lifting.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One day you're intoxicated with the word awareness, and then one day you're intoxicated with the word nothing, right? One day you're caught up in the word emptiness. You're like, oh, Emerson is so much emptiness. That's an intoxication. Again, sober up from that.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's really like,
Yeah.
oh,
The moment someone puts me in a pedestal, I right away, what I'm saying, no, 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 no.
you tear it down.
I tear
Yeah,
it down. Yeah. And
I
people, you know
remember.
what? What's that?
No, it was just I remember when I was in India for retreat with the Muji, like,
Oh,
and I was also a volunteer in the Sangha.
yeah.
Not, I was not very close in the Sangha. I was just volunteer.
Hmm.
And I remember they said to me, because we were in like a dining hall after every
Yeah.
satsang, and they said, you cannot look at him. You have, because it was like he was this, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there was so many rules, so much constriction, and they said he is an enlightened being, so he is moving very freely. But we had to have so many rules, like when you're eating, don't look at him, because then he could feel uncomfortable because everyone would look at him. I was like, okay. It was so,
I
it
also
was so
I
funny.
also fell into that, not just you. You know what? You can't even show, when there's a guru in front of you, you can't show the bottom of your feet. So you're always
Oh,
conscious covering your, remember that? You're always covering
yeah,
your feet, and you
yeah,
don't want to be disrespectful, right? And everything.
yeah,
But that creates a hierarchy right away that they got something that you don't, and
yeah.
that they're enlightened and you're not.
Yeah.
But if
Yeah,
you
I
take
give this
away,
in prison.
yeah,
They
it's,
have something.
yeah. But if you look at it, the teacher, the speaker is trapped in a jail of their own making.
Yeah.
They're talking about liberation, but the liberation, they have conceptualized it, and they're in a prison of their own concepts about it. Even if they say it's not a concept, they're still talking about a concept because no concept is a concept. So
Yeah.
what seekers look at, they're looking in outside of a jail cell, looking at teachers and speakers in prison of their own belief system.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
then you,
also see
you
what,
end up getting caught up in that. And then instead of liberators, they become gatekeepers because they don't want to get rid of their identity as a speaker or a teacher. Or they don't want, it's or a someone that has realized something. Get over yourself.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because it can be so
It's
intoxicating,
it's so
with the,
intoxicating for both,
yeah,
for the speaker and the
yeah,
seeker, right? The
yeah,
seeker is
yeah,
getting flown, is flying all over the
yeah,
world. People are like, "Oh, how are you?" You're welcomed and everything, and but you're only seeing a fraction of that character. You don't see when they get mad or they get, you know what I'm saying? So you're
no,
seeing kind
no,
of like
no,
the fraction of that character, and they're performing as a speaker. They're performing
yeah,
as a teacher, right? So it doesn't matter, speaker, teacher, um, influencer. It's all
yeah, yeah, yeah,
performance. Get
yeah,
over yourself, right? And that's when I started kind of like just doing the one ones, just so that there's just my clothes are off. Basically, there's this nakedness here. I tell stories. I don't care, right? So, but the because of that hierarchy is taken away, there's just a directness here. And I don't even have to convince you. It's here. It's always here.
Yeah, I'm like, well, what to say?
Yeah. And that's why
Don't worry, I can
I go back
find
and forth in stories
it.
because it's it's
Yeah,
so direct and so simple. It's
yeah.
instant, right?
I see that I have been really caught about, the you can say the spiritual experience, like the
Yeah,
glimpse that I really caught them, made them into like something, a
yeah.
concept, and suddenly
But
I
it's just
was
an
just,
experience.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah,
just, and if you don't label it, if you don't talk about it, what's the difference between
yeah.
that and, you
It's
know,
yeah, but it's the mind wants to create a benchmark, right? A high benchmark
yeah,
of experiences. And you're like, I want to get. So if you're stuck on that benchmark, then of course you will not have everything will pale in comparison.
yeah,
Yeah. Even though when you're walking, there's this white flower that is so gorgeous, right? That like it's just the color is just so bright. You're like, oh, what is that? So you're almost denying what is here
yeah,
because you're so hung up on the past and the future, hung up on your experience
leaving.
of a glimpse, right? Which becomes a curse, right? So the same thing happened to me, right? I was hugging everybody. The first time it happened, I was hugging everybody. I saw God in everything. I was like, oh my goodness, I have to get everyone here. Then the mind goes, you have to
Yeah.
teach now, Emerson. You know,
And you're this, wow, you're
yeah,
so clear,
you have
and
summer.
you're
Yeah,
this, and yeah, suddenly you get
yeah,
into that
yeah,
labeling yourself,
yeah.
and
So
then
unlabel
you
yourself.
feel it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
And
like
then
my
you
life
feel
because my life is
it.
so simple. There's no my family and friends finally see how just I'm just being authentic. There's just authenticity. I'm not trying to be a special guru or a nobody person or no one here. All that narrative has fallen away. Even the narrative of a non-duality speaker or someone that
Yeah.
knows about this.
But it is really like, thinking or going into the thoughts, like it's really like an escape
It is. It's
because,
almost like a fantastical imaginary friend that
yeah,
all of a sudden took over.
yeah,
Yeah.
because this is just so, it can seem so ordinary in a sense, and so silent and so subtle and just so here, that the, and it's just like, it is really like, it's just here all the time.
It's here all the
So,
time. Yeah.
yeah, so
You
it's
can't do
like,
nothing. It's between what's between doing and not doing.
it's just,
Because you'll hear that, you know what? Oh, you have to do awareness. You have to do awareness.
yeah.
And yeah.
Oh,
And
I
then the
heard that a
opposite
lot.
side of it is that there's no you to do anything. So you don't do anything. But that's still a
Oh,
doing, right?
dang.
Yeah.
I was trying for so many years. Like, I was so frustrated. I was like, being awareness, who is aware, who is blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you know,
Yeah.
bullshit. It's
Yeah.
just,
I filled up so many journals of who am I, right? Because there's a practice of who am I, and you're supposed to write down, who am I
yeah,
and everything. It's all bullshit.
yeah, because it's like, aware of what? Who?
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah.
It's just here,
It's just
it's
yeah.
just,
It's just so
yeah,
direct. It's so direct. It's so clear.
yeah.
Yeah.
There is no problem unless you believe the next thought that says it's not this or you
Yeah.
should seek. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, what's between it's this and it's what's between this and not this? It's a sobering up, right? You're like, oh, right now, like, the trend is like to capitalize the word this with the capital T, right?
yeah, and I've been used so much the mind, to
Yeah.
seek,
Yeah.
but the mind just it cannot it cannot it's a hindrance.
It's a hindrance.
So
Yeah. Even calling it
to
this is a hindrance if you
yeah,
look at it, right?
yeah,
Just this,
yeah,
because the mind will, well, say, well, it's not just this,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
right? This is it.
yeah,
Well, the mind will say, well, this is not it later on,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it will.
When you say that, I got it, eventually you'll be like, I lost it, right?
I did that once. I
Oh, yeah.
remember I was in London for a retreat with Muji,
Yeah.
and I went up to the microphone and asked him a question, and he guided me, and I went in this in-between state, and I was like, yeah, whatever. But then, and I asked, can I get you a hug because I felt so much love,
Yeah. Yeah.
And he said, yeah, yeah, yeah. And as I was going up on the stage, suddenly the mind came.
Yeah.
You are fraud. You didn't get this.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
lost it now.
Yeah.
And I was so ashamed. I was so ashamed, going up there in front of all the
Oh,
people and giving
no.
it up. And I was like, oh no, they think now I got it and I have to look like I got it for the next day. And
It
Muji
doesn't also help. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, it was just, and the next day Muji wanted to go and look us all in the eyes, and I was so ashamed because I was like, oh no, he can see I lost it, so I have to hide.
Oh, I'm an imposter.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Well, for, and it doesn't also help that there's someone that has to validate it. This does not have to be validated by anyone because that's just another trap. Yeah. Isn't it amazing when you come into clarity, but you don't have the language for it?
Yeah, yeah, because you see that whatever is said is the mind, and
Yeah.
I can really feel that I have been drunk on the mind for so many years.
You're addicted to it. Yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just like it's being flushed out, the power of the mind, like the power of thoughts, because
Yeah.
it's here, but some, it's just like not taken, not going there, not
Yeah.
taking seriously.
Yeah.
Just like kind of, yeah, instead it just feels like I can hear water, like waves,
Yeah.
like
Do you hear that quietness? Like almost like a
like
white noise.
yeah, it's like
It's like a ringing of the ear. Oh, I'm so sorry. My dog gets getting trapped under the couch, so I'm gonna put her here.
it's
Just a
okay.
second, okay?
Yeah.
Independent when I'm in a meeting, right? So she plays by the ball by herself, but it goes under the couch, and then she goes
Oh
goes under, and then she goes.
no, she's stuck
So
under the couch.
I hit
So
the
she
ball.
gets
I don't know where she found another ball, right? So
oh,
she said, yeah. But yeah, you know what this is cannot really be said. And yeah, it's it's almost like tricky, right? Because how can you say something that cannot be said? How can you
Yeah.
how can you?
Yeah.
Yeah. How can you seek something that cannot be thought of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like there is nothing to understand.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just,
It's like the absolute cannot be thought about. So people are trying to talk about the absolute, but in the relative mind. So when they say there's no one here, that's the mind saying that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it creates again a kind of a concept.
Yeah. Even if you say it's not a concept, that's still a concept.
Yeah.
And then you have someone saying, someone always gatekeeping will say, well, I think that, that you've not settled in yet. Or,
Mm.
but the question should be, well, can you show how this, that this is already the case?
Yeah.
Can you show at this moment that it's always this?
Yeah, and satsang, I feel, is very futile for the mind.
It is.
Like it
And
speaks.
the teacher just keeps on, speaker just keeps on, maintaining followers.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
codependency there, right? Because without the followers, there's no teacher. What I do is I try to get rid of the people that meet me first.
Yeah, exactly.
I
It's
even have a retreat that it's the last retreat, so that's the last retreat that
you
that
have
they'll
a
do
retreat in May.
in
You
May. Yeah,
also have
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
in a couple of weeks. Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
It's for the stubborn seekers, right? That have been seeking for quite a while. That
Yeah.
like just and it's not a Q&A thing. There's going to be some talks, but it's just going to be back and forth. It's a circle. There's no one that knows, right? So it's a different format from all of those stuff, right? So yeah,
Yeah. I was also like a very stubborn seeker. Yeah.
yeah,
I still feel that I feel like there is still like a flushing process going on.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. It's almost like a
yeah,
residue. It's like
yeah, yeah,
it's a never-ending unfolding, right? It's a never-ending
yeah.
unfolding. Don't put any
Because of
stop to that unfolding because the unfolding, the mind will think that it arrived, that you got it,
yeah, yeah,
or
yeah,
you lost it.
yeah,
Yeah. What's
yeah,
between I
yeah.
got it
It's
and I
not
lost
like
it? Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally,
It's like
totally.
when you sober up, right? You still it's there's no process, but it seems like a purging of things, a
Yeah,
purging of belief
because
systems. Yeah.
because talking to you is helping me like it's like flushing out what I thought it was or how it should be,
Yeah.
and just recognize what's here,
It's what's
what's
here. Yeah.
direct, like what's
What's there?
uh,
What's
yeah,
what's
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
No no frills. Just
yeah,
straight up. No
yeah,
bullshit.
yeah.
Yeah. Direct to the point.
And it's like wow, it's really just this. Yeah, it's just
If you've
yeah.
noticed,
So
I haven't talked about the self, the me awareness. I haven't talked about
no,
anything at all. We just went directly to it, right? So
that's really good. That's
yeah,
really, really good
yeah,
because for me, I've been stuck so much about this that it should feel in a certain way, that
yeah.
it should feel like there was
Well,
no me.
it doesn't help when you have speakers and teachers telling how it should feel.
Yeah, yeah, that's really a trap.
It's a trap.
Mm.
Yeah. when they say that this is the last house on the road, that's a trap. You'll get trapped in that last house. You know what I'm saying? There should be no
Yeah.
houses.
Yeah.
It's a prison when you believe that this is the last. There's people that seek for, they encounter a speaker or a teacher and they stay with them for 10, 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've also heard a lot about that was also a very strong belief inside of me. With speakers said you have like one awakening experience and then it's done.
that's just
And then you,
BS. That's just
yeah,
another, that's just
yeah,
another belief system, right? Yeah, yeah.
exactly. Because as you say,
Once you
it's,
see it, you can't unsee it, that kind of thing. It's just
yeah,
another
yeah, yeah,
belief system. Someone said it before and it became a belief system that um, someone was even critiquing this one-on-ones, like the earlier ones, and basically said, well, that does not look the same. They're not speaking like this other person. There's still a me there because they're not speaking like a Tony Parson or a Jim Newman.
yeah, yeah,
No. And for some people they believe that it should be like that. You're a robot now, and
yeah,
you're copying the English accent of Tony, just like other people
yeah,
did, right? So uh,
yeah. Then you get stuck in
yeah,
that
and
one.
much, that's awesome, but there's it's all going to appear completely different from each other. It doesn't have to be one way because one way is a belief, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unique. It's a unique unfolding for every single character. Although there's really no character, but even the way
Oh,
that we talk is different. Do you know that we have a
yeah.
walk prints that every single character walks differently from another?
Oh, that's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
same with finger
Same with
prints.
fingers. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that
Yeah.
even mannerisms and stuff can't be duplicated. Um,
Mm.
and at the same time, there's no zero and there's no one because those are just concepts. And again, that's all just ideas. If you bulldoze her into this clarity, you can't say anything. It's a recognition that there's nothing to recognize. It's a realization that there's nothing to realize, right? It's an awakening that there's no one to awaken. And those are so many words. Again, sobriety. So sobriety is like um, when you sober up, right? You don't go back to the bar and ask for a bartender to give you a drink that will sober you up because they'll just keep on
Give you more.
give you more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that you're more
Back on
intoxicated.
the
So
bottle.
that you stay on in the bar, and you know what? They keep on collecting the tips. But that's all okay in a narrative. It's all just narratives if you look at it.
Yeah,
It's all innocent, isn't it?
it is.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah,
Usually in this story anyway, it's usually harder for a person to have many glimpses. People think that they're
yeah,
ready, but they're not because they have solidified belief systems. There was this person that I did earlier today, like at 6 o'clock in the morning my time, and
oh,
he
wow.
he he said that I'm a pro at this and everything. It took about 45 minutes for it to crack because he kept on saying that I'm a professional seeker.
Mm.
I just booked you because someone recommended you, but I don't really, the belief system that
Yeah.
and it goes, I have had many glimpses already. I had my first awakening, whatever, right? I've done a lot of shadow work and everything. And I basically all I really said, we just kept on talking and talking and talking. All I said is like, well, what are you without any of those stories?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he goes, what do you mean? I'm like, you are the story that's saying more stories. So you'll just keep on coming up with stories because the you is a story and the no you is also a story. Because he's like, well, there was no me. It was he just kept on mimicking all of the teachers and speakers that he's met along the way, right? So the belief system was quite strong. Kind of like what you said, I like all of these teachers, but don't we agree that there's nothing that they have ever said,
Yeah. It's wild. Yeah.
right?
Because it's
That
just
actually can direct you to this
exactly
intimacy.
because
Yeah,
that's what I see. I see this so clearly that it's so futile,
yeah.
you know, to say anything about it.
Well, and the only thing that sometimes, in those big meetings, and it's almost like those big satsangs when people have those, it's fanaticism. If you look at it, you're just being a fanatic.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as watching a concert with a big pop superstar. People faint. They have this spiritual experience, right? Because
Mhm.
it's the mind looking up to its full potentiality. What it thinks it's a full potentiality. I can be Michael Jackson. I can be Muji, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So it just
It's
creates
the
it.
next.
It can
It
also,
creates
yeah,
the next, right?
yeah.
So someone to aspire
It's
to.
fine.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And I just feel like, just sitting and just don't say that much.
Yeah,
Just to because it's just quiet and yeah,
it's so quiet, isn't it?
it is.
Yeah. I didn't know how quiet this was. It was just so wild, right? Because all the chatter is just noise. The mind is just noise.
It's nice.
It's
Yeah.
just noise. Yeah.
And I really see clearly that the whole search I've been through,
Mhm.
it has only been, believing mind stuff, believing some,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
nothing has ever really like been there or
Yeah.
happened. It's just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then yeah, it's just been belief.
Belief after
Um,
belief. Belief
yeah,
maintaining a belief becomes a sense of identity, right?
yeah,
And that sense of identity becomes, well, I am, following this teacher or speaker. You follow, the belief, the sense of identity now latches onto another sense of another identity, another kind of like when you said, oh, I like Emerson because there's emptiness. That's just another
yeah,
identity, right? That's just another made
yeah,
up stuff, right? So,
yeah,
yeah. And in the story, it's up to the speaker, teacher, whatever, to also break that illusion that I'm higher than you, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I really liked when
In the
you,
story, anyway, right? In the story.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
in this story, I really liked that you just, gave away this spiritual teacher and that you stepped down,
Yeah.
that you took, that you
I
had
could
the
have fought it.
courage.
I could have fought it. I could have made everybody wrong because more people trusted me, right? But
Yeah.
I admitted there was also some, you know, power corrupts, right? So
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
so
you can
glad to
feel,
step down. It was such a heavy, it was probably, yeah, it's almost like every if you're in the character, and this is just a narrative, if you're an empathic character, it's almost like you're carrying every single one that followed you. You
Yeah.
care about them, and when you fail them, it's, oh, I cried like every night, right? It was hard to give up that, right? Because it was like a supply of codependency. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
because you felt okay, they needed you to be
That's
this,
right. Yeah,
and
but here I was falling apart as a character, right? Because I
yeah,
had this big, awakening, right? And I thought that I had to be of service to, thousands of people, which I did actually. But it gets exhausting, and then when things fall apart, you're trapped in that role. Now that's what I'm saying. That when I was a teacher, I was teaching from jail because I was trapped in my own prison of my own ideas about this, my own beliefs about this, my own concepts about this, or my borrowed concepts, and which is just like like a jail on top in another jail, right? And I was following the lineage, and right now the lineage is the message, right? So people are copying that lineage of the message of no one here. That's just another trap.
it is.
The moment you
And
can call
also,
it something like the message or something, it's a trap.
yeah,
Yeah.
and this insincerity that because you can feel that, oh, it's just not true, it's just not
Mm.
alive in a sense. It's just
Yeah.
something else is alive, and
Yeah.
but you have to conform. You have because people are looking at you, and so you have to be spiritual. Like
Oh yeah. Or you
you're
you have
not.
to appear like there's no one here, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I remember being in the Sangha there with Moody. I left. I left. I was not there for so long
Yeah.
because I really felt this constricted energy. But it was like there was like an idea that you have to look like you were in your heart, that you were really like, yeah, yeah, like
I have pictures of that with me, with my heart, looking at compassionately at all
in
of the
love
people
and go.
suffering.
And you could just see, I could just feel because I was like, sometimes I just felt this fire inside, like, like anger coming up also. And I could just see people like, oh, and I could feel that it's not sincere, and
Yeah,
it just
yeah,
feels so constricted. So I was like, I
yeah.
have to leave this.
Well, it's a pageantry of sorts, right? There's someone on the top. It's like a pyramid. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter who, right? If there's someone that has
yeah,
been elevated into a high stature. I love that I'm underground. It's people resonate with me, but I don't give any kind of. I get invited to speak at like bigger. I want to keep mine small. Like my retreat, for example, is just small. And it's
yeah.
just and then there's no hierarchy. I'll clean the washroom, I'll cook the dishes, you know what I'm saying? And there's just um
And you are a
it's
good cook.
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
I heard. And you
yeah.
love food.
I love food. There's
Yeah.
yeah, there's just an ordinariness here, right? There's just a love for life, so to speak. There's a passion in sharing something that cannot be shared. There's a passion for seeing this happen over and over again every day, right? So imagine there's this beautiful lady that was supposed to, oh, she called me this morning. It was the most beautiful call. She, although not good she said, "Hey, Emerson, I can't go to the last retreat anymore." She's in her 80s, and she said, "I feel like I'm in my first childhood now. The
Oh,
seeking has ended." She's like, it's like I'm reliving my childhood again, but it's like your second childhood. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, you know what? I was just so happy, right? Because there's just this character that and she just expressed her gratitude, right? Because she's been seeking for quite a while. And we did a one-on-one, and she said the one-on-one was enough. And I'm not a good businessman because I should not be saying this.
yeah.
Because it becomes,
Like,
but you know what though? um for some odd reason, you know what, this just really can like direct honesty about it, that maybe the one-on-one is all that's needed, right? You don't even have to go to retreats. So I'm not selling anything, because someone will say, well, maybe if you go to my event, there's an energetic transmission there or something. No.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
beliefs, you know.
It's
It's
just
just,
beliefs. It's just
yeah,
beliefs. Yeah.
beliefs, beliefs,
Yeah.
beliefs. And
Yeah.
it can be such a deep jungle,
It
you
is. It
know.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another guy that sent me a letter, just yesterday. He's never did the one-on-one with me, but he said he's watched 100 videos. And shout out to that guy that wrote, I can't remember his name. And he is 77. He's been seeking since 19. And he said now he has ineffable peace.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really, so you can
And I
be
have nothing
poor,
even to
but
do
you can
with it,
be,
because it was just watching the videos, right? We didn't even do a
yeah,
one-on-one.
it's
It's
incredible.
just so incredible, right? Because it's when the character gets out of the way, Emerson's out of the way, right?
It's just so beautiful,
It
isn't
is,
it? You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
it's,
yeah,
when the character is just not here, you know, like
yeah, yeah,
it's just simple. It's just sitting here, words coming out,
yeah.
you know, just
Just a flow. There's just a flow.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's just
It's
natural,
a
and
flow of stillness. Yeah.
yeah, it's just, and I have this sense that it, as you say, it's continuous. It goes deeper, deeper,
Mm.
deeper, deeper.
Oh yeah.
It's not like
I got
because
it. I'm done. You kind of thing,
yeah,
right?
the
No.
mind just wants to, you know, like say, this is it. It's like this, boom, and it's
Boom.
not. It's just alive. It's alive.
Yeah. Right?
So it's
There's
just not. Yeah, it's
there's
just
this
alive. So
alive. It's alive, right? It's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's
So it's
infinitely alive. I like it. Yeah.
yeah. So it's not just this or that. It's not black, white, you know,
No.
mind. It's not like that.
Yeah.
It's just,
Beautiful.
yeah.
Well, I'm gonna stop the recording here.